All right, guys, we're back. We're here to do Married at First Sight, season 17. And I forgot what is this episode 15? I'll double check. But anyway, it is really interesting watching Emily and Brennan. Brennan really has been on my mind, and I haven't figured out how I feel about last night's episode. So that's why I'm not going to do tonight's episode. I'm actually going to do the other episodes. I have to really go back and figure out what that was, because, child, I'm having a senior moment. But I digress. Brennan has really been forefront on my mind because I had someone make a comment in one of the videos, and they were saying how they understood that. Oh yeah, so it was that after party video where Brennan is confessing, he's letting some of the stuff slip out of his mouth about why he doesn't like Emily, but he won't tell her. So they were saying how they understood how he may not be appreciative, of her body count, and so this is my thing, and it really just kind of set me off into my own little foray of life and the stuff that I've experienced. I've done things that I am honestly ashamed of. Would I necessarily confess them to my husband? I actually don't know. I don't have that answer. Why Emily felt comfortable confessing stuff like that to her husband is because I don't think she thinks she's doing anything wrong. Her family isn't judging her for her lifestyle. Her friends aren't judging her for her lifestyle. She's not judging herself for her lifestyle. So, but the men that she's running into are judging her for her lifestyle. And so that's actually something that she needs to be made aware of. I don't know if people have expressed that to her at any point, in her life. That's something that I would like to, hear from her. But this is one of those times where, as her husband, it actually is a responsibility, of his to give his wife a perspective on her behavior that he doesn't find to be of a nature of a wife, and give her that opportunity and space, to really kind of think about that. I don't think she's been challenged about this ever. And, please be patient with me, people who don't, who are non-believers. But it just really kind of took me back to when there's a part in the Gospels. I want to say it's in Matthew, but this woman got caught in adultery. And so instead of bringing the man and the woman in front of Jesus, they only brought the woman. They snatched her up and brought her in front of him, because that, according to the Torah, is punishable by death. And they knew that they had her dead to rights. So then they went and took her in front of the Lord and wanted him to judge her for, her behavior. And so they all had stones in their hands. And he said that, okay, you right, okay? But let me tell you this. He who has no sin, if you haven't done anything, if you cool, if you haven't messed up, then let that person be the one to cast the first stone. And they all had to put him down and walk away, because they didn't have anything that they could actually judge her with, because of their own stuff, that they could be judged for and stoned. And they knew that he knew it. He knew that some of the stuff that they have already engaged in themselves could get them put in that same position that they want to put her in. And it took him saying those words, those magic words that could actually make them see themselves and prick their consciences. And that's why they had to walk away. And this is the state of condition that Brennan is in. He has a rock in his hand, and he wants to stone Emily to death with it. He's acting like it. And he thinks he's being chivalrous. He thinks he's being, magnanimous. He actually thinks he's going out and above his way in order to try to make this, a good experience for her. And it's the complete opposite. He doesn't see himself. And this is a big problem, with men. You guys, you get into your heads about what you think manhood, really is, and it's not. And one of the reasons why I'm really glad that they brought Michael back on is because he actually gives an opportunity for men to see that. I mean, he's saying in his masculinity that I can meet you where you are and your femininity so that we can synergistically get this thing together. I am here for you. And you trusting me to be there for you, then that's when you're going to be able to tap into my energy so that you can be there for me. This is, how relationships are supposed to work. I really, really hope that he and Chloe can figure this out. I mean, I think she's going to have to language herself. She's going to have to continue to language herself to Michael. And things that, are deal breakers, for her, she's going to have to communicate. And if he doesn't want to, adapt, then that's a clear road of why this is not something I want in my husband, or why this is something that I don't want in my wife. But this is something that has to be talked about and discussed. And in my mind, he and Orion, I really believe that Orion has a lot to do with where Brennan is and why he's been so stubborn in this situation. It's because Orion is doing the same thing with Lauren. But he wants to have it both ways. He wants to sit up and tell Lauren, oh, well, I want us to, like at the wedding, he's, oh, how are you doing? Oh, yeah, that would be nice for us to, kind of rebuild our friendship. And then, like she said on the after show, that same night, they all went out to another spot, and he ain't even talked to her the rest of the night. I mean, it's stuff like that he doesn't even notice about himself that, has the potential to really damage, relationships. And he walking around thinking that he is, in the right. And he needs to be able to examine himself. And that's something he doesn't want to do. He'd rather look at other people and examine them and then make that situation right for him. So he doesn't have to change. And he's never going to be able to attract anybody to him, even if they aren't Lauren. Even if Lauren, there was going to be something that she was going to do. Once she flipped a switch on him, whichever one it was, the whole redskin comment, the whole sex thing, whatever thing. It could have been her being queer. It was going to be a switch that was going to be flipped. And he was going to go into his little, inside of his femininity and just judge her and want to stay there and use things, to justify his belief. And if Brennan got infected with that mess out of Ryan, then one of the things too I was thinking about, I actually hope that he ends up with a prostitute. Now, there is a book in the Bible. It's Hosea. And he made him marry a prostitute. The Lord made that man go and marry the town whore and have kids with her. And she kept running away. She kept going back. He had to go back and go get her and bring her back in the house. And I actually hope that's what happens to Brennan. And I see that the only way that can happen is when he get busted up. Somebody is going to have to come around and just bust him up. And then when he actually takes a look at himself and how he sat and treated this woman, I'm thinking about Elijah as I'm saying that. Because when he finished, and I encourage you guys to go back and look at that season with him and Katina. Child, that was an entire mess. And by the time that season ended, you could see that people had gotten up in his face and told him how ridiculous he looked on TV. I mean, you could actually see the humility rolling off of him. And I don't know if I don't see him as that same kind of individual today. I think he's kind of back at his stupid. I mean, this is a nut. You think that something's wrong with Brennan. There's something wrong with that dude. And I knew it. I was so sad that they put Katina with him. And that's what this show does. There's another season 2. And that season, I actually put it up. I encourage you guys to go back and look. It's this dude. His name is Eris. And his wife is Jasmine. One of the nicest women. Beautiful. I mean, fine. really low body count, okay, ready to be a wife, entrepreneur. She had some cosmetic things, that some people may not, but it was just cosmetic. Those things could really be fixed. So other than that, he just couldn't let himself get out of his own head. He actually wanted a freak. He wanted a stripper. If his wife had been a stripper, he would have been happy. So this is the kind of nuttiness that we have to look at season to season on Married at First Sight. I don't know where they get these guys from, and I don't know. Like Clint said he hadn't even seen the series and he signed up for it. Didn't even know what he was getting himself into. That's the kind of stupidity, that we're living in, today. And I don't know. Man, I'm tired of people like Brennan. I'm very, well, let me see. My sexual experiences were not the most fulfilling things, for me. So I'm at the point in my life where, and now I'm really glad. I'm glad that I don't want to participate in a promiscuous lifestyle. I don't want it. It's like if you tried to give me, feces to eat. I don't want to live a promiscuous lifestyle. I've been there, I've done that. It's just not my cup of tea. But my thing is with Brennan, you can't judge her for that. You put yourself in this situation where you said that you couldn't go out and find a woman that you was looking for on your own. So now you go to these people and then they match you up with this woman who has her own job. She has her own money. She's taking care of herself. She travels. She's got family and friends who love her and respect her and her lifestyle. She's, a decent human being. But you can't get over something that she was engaged in before she even knew you. And you act like that's who she always has to be. That you can't be an influence in her life and say, hey, have you ever thought about looking at life this way? This is the kind of thing that really made me want to start reviewing the show, because the language and the thought processes that we have out here are really damaging us. It's keeping, I know Brennan, for sure, because he's not even giving Emily an opportunity to say whether or not she'll agree with him, because he's not saying anything to her. So the very thing that he says that he wants, same thing with Aries, same thing with Olajuwon. You say that you want a wife, but you keep trying to go and get what you think that you want, but you don't even know how to go and get that for yourself. What you think you want is something you can't even manifest for yourself. That you had to go and put yourself on national television because you was this desperate and thirsty to be able to have a wife. And then they give you one, and then you just throw her away. And that's another thing with Christians. Christians do not understand the importance of marriage. It's like, okay, so the first covenant was between, if you look biblically, the first covenant was between Adam and God. And then the next covenant was between Eve and God. And the first human covenant was Adam and Eve. Human to human covenant. I'm with you, you with me. Even when we do stupid, when we do one of the most dumbest things that we could have ever done in our lifetime, we're still going to be together. And they figured it out. End up having 3 kids. Okay? At least that we're told, about in the Bible. But anyway, the point of what I'm saying is we've lost that ability. We've lost that ability to be able to look at each other and tell you do not understand how stupid this decision was. Because they both could have sat down and actually been arguing into perpetuity about who was wrong in that situation. But they didn't. They had to figure it out and get over it and then go and produce them kids and, figure out how to live the rest of their life while they're breathing down here. And we've forgotten how to do that. And it really is disgusting when I see these men come in front of our faces, wasting our time. And it's like, well, I'm here. I'm by your side. What did he say? In sickness and in health. I could have put my fist to that TV. It's just, I don't have a television, but I could have put my fist to that If I had a TV. Shit. Anyway, I digress. So let me get my paper. Got me all just, I've been thinking about Brennan. He has just really gotten on my nerves. Okay, so I gotta look at my my video. My little things that I have. Because I forgot, I got off on a tangent talking about Brennan. Okay. Alright, let's go here. Okay, so who do we have first? This feels like a long episode. Okay, so Michael and Claire, they're coming back from their honeymoon, and no, they're going on their honeymoon. I'm thinking about this episode. They're going on their honeymoon, and they got the husband and hat wives on. I actually agree with some people about them having to have their short vacation in Colorado. They could have at least taken them to another state so that they could, have some warmth or something. Instead of taking them out of the country, they could have taken them to another part where they could actually, go to the pool and relax, and you know what I mean. Anyway, where are we? Okay, so Emily and Brennan. Who gave them, one of the experts gave them the exercise to use like a talking stick. So whoever has the device is the one that actually gets to have the floor for conversation. Then when the other person wants to talk, then they take the stick, and then that prompts the other person to wrap it up so that they can actually respond to what they're saying, which is really, a good concept. But anyway, so in the conversation, I think that the more that Emily is talking, like she was talking to Dr. Pia, she actually spoke when she was talking to Dr. Pepper, and she's expressed herself, on this last visit with Dr. Cal. And so I'm really just sensing that the stuff that Brennan is saying is kind of like too, like with Lauren, when she told Orion when they were at the other gathering that he was gaslighting her. So she's starting to figure out some stuff, about him too. That he's presenting, she keeps saying, one way in front of the camera, and then another way when it's just them. And she's trying to say, I'm keeping it real. Because one of the things that I remember, is this the episode that they talk? Yeah, so I'm moving ahead. But they're talking to Dr. Cal, and he was showing them their interview selves. They had the tape when they were applying for the show. And he asked Brennan, when he finished, he said, is that, what did he say? He asked Brennan, he asked if that was true. If the person she was communicating herself in the video was actually true to what he recognized, in his relationship with her. And he said yes, that she was congruent. And so he asked her the same question, and she said no. She actually spoke up and started explaining things that she didn't see in the video. Like she said that he said in the video he was going to trust the process, and she doesn't think that he's really living up to that. And he said that he was loving and, really laid back and the other things that she says that she's not getting from him of what the Brennan, she's seeing, in the video. So that was her, really kind of speaking up for herself. And so when they're having this talking stick conversation, I'm starting to see, I really don't think that, I didn't believe what Brennan was saying, and at this point, I don't think that she is, either. And then also, too, in that conversation, she said that she didn't feel like he was really treating her like a friend, because he keeps talking about, oh, well, we're going to, we're resetting, we're building our friendship. And she said, no, because you're disrespecting me. You make me feel bad. And that doesn't make me feel like I'm being respected, by you. So I thought that was really good. I encourage you guys, to go down and look at that. So Michael and Chloe, I think this is where they're getting ready to go on the hike up the mountain, and she's saying that this is part of she's saying that this is part of her fear, and that was really good. She said that been there, done that. She doesn't need to have that activity again, which I thought was cool. I really appreciate their conversation. I love that Michael really listens to her, and that even if he says things that are kind of shocking to her, she's actually just trying to absorb it, but then trying to feel like, how can I absorb this, but then when it gets to be too much, communicate that it's too much. So I really do like that. And I missed the part where Emily and Emily and Claire are talking to each other. And Emily was saying, when they were talking to Dr. Cal, that people were coming to her at the wedding remarking on it. She either said it when it was just she and Brennan, or she said it when they were in therapy. I can't remember which one. But anyway, she said that, people were coming up to her at the wedding like, wow, is that the way he treats you? Is that the way he talks to you? And I knew it was Claire. I think she and Orion are playing the same roles, in this, because she'd be gassing Emily up sometimes, and Claire needs to go mind her own business and take care of her own marriage sometimes. She gets on my nerves. But anyway, they're out there talking, and what Claire is saying, the reason I'm not mad at Claire is because it's what Emily is actually feeling for herself. Claire is not saying something to her that she's not beginning to actually understand as well. So they're actually agreeing, with each other. And she's still trying. She's still letting Claire know, and she's letting her friends, know. I'm skipping up that she sees that something is going on with him, but because she likes him and because they're married, that's why she's really trying to make this effort. They got 8 weeks, and she's going to try to take these 8 weeks to see what she can get done. And if she didn't see I'm sure if she didn't see anything happening at the end of this experiment, then I have confidence that she has sense enough that she's going to go about her own way. So that's what I get from Emily thus far. She is saying that they're getting ready to go see Dr. Cal. Then they have that conversation. And Brennan said that he's even wearing the same shirt in these videos that he was wearing when they showed the interview video. So that actually kind of shows you his mindset. Maybe he and Chloe would actually have gotten along better, because that's like a minimalist kind of thing. I mean, you recycle that shirt that much that's the same shirt that you wore when you went on your interview to Married at First Sight. That was fascinating, to me. But I appreciated the questions that they were asked. And I encourage you to go down there and look at the videos. Let me see, do I have anything? I was saying that I put down in my notes that as I'm talking about her trying to use these 8 weeks, I really am glad that she's in a structured, safe environment with this guy, because he is a manipulator. And so I asked the question before whether or not I thought that he was an abuser. When you abuse anyone verbally, mentally, or physically, then you're an abuser. It's not just you hitting someone. When you're actually using your words and your actions to give out micro aggressions to people, that actually affects a person's mental health. And I don't like it when I see it in somebody. I sure don't, and I don't accept it when it's being, done to me. Because as a woman, especially in this society, I've been abused. All three. I've told the story, before, how my uncle, molested me, when I was a child. So I have been abused by men literally my entire life, all the way up until 53 years, of age. I have guys, I'll be having a drink or something, and they'll grab on me. Like they'll grab at my private parts, they'll grab at my breasts, and all kinds. I get mauled when I'm out there. So like I'm saying, I mean, it's dangerous to live as a woman in society, especially if like a man thinks that you're out and you've had too many drinks and stuff. They could actually follow you. And, I have to, and that's another reason why I kind of admire, where Emily is, because she knows how to take care of herself, even though, her lifestyle, is something that could, potentially be a hazard, for her. So for her to figure, that out at her age is really commendable, especially like when I was her age. The environment wasn't the way that it is today. It's actually, to me, a little more dangerous. You really have to be aware of your surroundings. I mean, you can have fun, but you still need to kind of know, where you are, what you're doing, as well. So yeah, I'm really happy that she has the safety of Married at First Sight to kind of figure this out, with Brennan. So anyway, where are we in the time? Okay, so Michael and Chloe, they finished their thing. Where am I? 26 minutes? Okay, I'm almost done. They finished their outing and they're having dinner. And I don't know why Michael has this handkerchief tied around his head, or whatever it is that he got tied around his head. He is very eccentric. I would ask him, at least at dinner, if I had to look at you do it all day, can you please take that just at dinner? Give me something else, another side of you to look at, please, sir. And I was disappointed. I think that he's comfortable in the way that he dresses. For me, it's too much. It really is. I mean, he kind of reminds me of somebody that dressed in the 80s. It's really like an 80s outdated look to me that I'm thinking about the after show as I'm saying this. I'm not just looking, at him now. I'm also looking at him on the after show. So if I end up posting up another video that has him in it, or the ones that even he's already been in, if he's in there. I think there's one with him talking to Emily in there. So yeah, go and check out his dress. I don't like his haircut. I don't like his glasses, but I do like him. I really do like him as a person. I think he, is really incredible, and I'm really glad that he's able to have these kind of conversations, with Chloe. It's very therapeutic. So who are we? Nope, that's this. Where are we? Oh, okay. So we're looking at Becca and Austin. They've gotten back from visiting his grandmother. It was her birthday. So he said that he got an allergy from the cats at his aunt and uncle's, and he had an allergic reaction and was so preoccupied that he really wasn't focused or concentrating on Becca the way that she would have liked. And that is the most that I got from that conversation. Becca is trying to still be supportive, and in her outtakes you can see that she's at a point where her frustration is starting to show. So we're looking at Michael and Chloe. They go and get massages. Michael goes full frontal. He is very comfortable around Chloe, and she didn't she didn't give the impression that she was uncomfortable, and they got the massages, and then he ended up massaging her, and he's communicating his attraction to her, and she seems receptive. So I think this is where Emily is talking to her friend. I thought that that was a really good conversation, and that she's kind of explained her position on where she feels that they are in the marriage. And her friend asked her, and I thought that was that's gonna, maybe if he can't get out of his head, that's gonna end up being some really good advice, is for her to head for the hills. I believe in marriage, but I don't believe in living in abuse, and that's not something that I see biblically either. I mean, even one of the reasons that I know that the Lord gave for divorce is adultery. He called it fornication, but that's still having sex, with somebody else. So I would throw abuse. I would label that as abuse. I don't think that we have to stay in a marriage if we're being abused, is my point. And I thought her friends have really been there for her throughout this experiment. And I appreciate them, for asking her tough questions and listening to her and not making her feel like, she's stupid, because it is. And I like that. That's good support. So, who is it? Oh, okay. So Dr. Pia is talking to, who is it? Lord Becca in Austin. And she is listening to what happened at the getaway. And Becca is saying that Austin wasn't as present with her as she would have liked. She wanted to know if he sees that the family's accepting her and that she's, he sees that she's blending in well, and he wasn't really giving her, he kind of pulled away, rather than make her feel like this was something that was bringing them closer together. And so Dr. Pia told them to manage their expectations of each other, and that would kind of help tamping down some of the hurt feelings, if they can incorporate that into their daily. And so Chloe's talking to Michael. She's telling him that they're getting ready to go home, and she's starting to get anxious because she's accustomed to living and being independent, and she doesn't know if this is something that she is really going to be able to do. And he lets her know that he understands that, this is a lot, for her, and that she's going to have to take this time to actually focus on her and see what is it that you can live with, which can't you, or what you can and can't, live with. What's going to be the best, for you? What can you bring to it? What can I give to it? And we're going to have to go about making our decisions about this the way that we are able to do that. And he gave her permission to actually, don't just think about me, think about you. This is going to be a marriage, that you're going to be in too. It's not just being in a marriage, with me. It's our marriage. And so she really got emotional about that because she felt like, she's a person that doesn't ask people, to help her. She's, open but private. She doesn't want to make people feel burdened, by what she's going through. And I know I have those, same tendencies, myself. I've gone through a lot by myself because I don't want to burden people, with my craziness. I make crazy decisions, sometimes, and I'm like, girl, why did you do that? And I just go ahead and just take it, I don't just share things, that I do all the time because sometimes it's just crazy. I be looking at myself like, what are you doing? So but it's nice that, she says to have Michael say that if this is what you need, then I'm okay with you being able, to have that for yourself. So that was special. And then we go to the next episodes. So, okay, I was looking at some of my notes. I think I got everything. One of the things that I see here is that I'm remembering Brennan when he was telling his friends that he was getting ready to go on Married at First Sight, and his friends was looking at him like, dude, what? And one of the friends said to him that he hasn't seen vulnerable Brennan in a long time. He said, you're going to have to be vulnerable, right? And I haven't seen that dude. So that was a question mark. And then the other question mark was when his mother was saying about the tendency to have a perfectionist mindset. She said that a perfectionist mindset actually works when you at work, but it doesn't translate well when you're actually trying to be in a relationship. So I see that mentality in his head, as well, from the way that he's treating his wife. I also have down here, man, if y'all have looked at that those videos with Emily talking to Dr. Cal, I love her shirt. That is like one of the best times that I've seen Emily look. I mean, she really looked nice. in there. Her fashion is not bad. I don't know about Michael's fashion. I've already told you how I feel about that. Okay. So yeah, I think. Oh yeah, did I do that? I missed. Oh, okay. So one of the things that I was saying with Chloe and Michael with their conversations that I missed was that when they were having the dinner and he had the thing wrapped around his head, they were sharing their childhood experiences, and she was saying how she, I think she was born in Santa Fe, and then they moved to Albuquerque when she was 9 or something like that, and the being in a multicultural space really gave her an opportunity to kind of see life in another way, and it really made an impact, on her. And then she asked Michael if he knew, if his mother knew about this marriage that they're in, and he gave her the first experience, and because it didn't work out, he said that his mother is not of a mindset, and she really wasn't even happy about it when he talked to her the first time, because she's old school and she doesn't understand why he would want to put himself through something like this to be able to get a wife. He did say that he spoke with his sister about it, and he did ask his sister to wait until he got ready to tell the mom, and he told Chloe that from what he's seen of her now, that he's sure that his mother's feelings will be calmed, and she will see Chloe in the same positive way that he sees her too. So yeah, I love Michael's conversation, child. So yeah, where am I? 36 minutes. So this is going to be the end of this part of my review. If you guys have hung in there with me, I really appreciate you. I appreciate all the new subscribers. And I'm going to talk a minute about some of the stuff that I see going on. So if you don't want to hear that, then I'll see y'all guys, in the next video. So for those of us who are hanging around, yeah, this stuff that, I've been looking at with the situation that we're in. This government is set on a system of money. So, according to the Constitution, American money is supposed to be minted. It's supposed to either be gold or silver. This is not me. This is not me pulling anything out of the Bible. This is me going to the Constitution. I'll find it, and then I'll link it down there so you guys can go and look at it, for yourself. So what we've done is we've turned around and allowed our government to take all of the value out of our money, and they've now transferred it into other metals. So like the penny used to be copper. The nickel at this point, I understand, is still nickel. That is the last coin that we have left that is in its pure form. And I have to double check that. But I do think that it's still nickel. And the quarter used to be silver. And it's now, there's no silver. And there's, like I said, the nickel is the last pure coin that we have. And it's still unconstitutional because it's not gold and silver. Okay? But I digress. And now, instead of copper, the penny is made out of zinc. I'll look a YouTube video down there for y'all go see that too. It blew my mind. I don't even know that it was a child. Anyway, I digress. So we used to be on the gold standard. And what has happened is over time, our money has been diluted. Like, remember I told you how they took all the gold out, took all the silver out of the money. Okay, dimes used to be silver, too. I know I was missing a coin, but anyway, so 1913, very important year, and that is when the Federal Reserve put us. That's when they created the Federal Reserve, and that's what put us into having the kind of paper money that we have been cycled into. So now we're all dependent upon paper. And I've talked about the paper aspect of money in previous videos. But this is what even makes it more of a shame, is if you was really going to fight and kill somebody over something, you would do it over gold. You wouldn't do it over paper. So you up here, you fighting for the wrong thing. You need to be fighting to get your gold back. And then that actually would make more sense to me as why you want to cut somebody up, because gold is, has that level of value. Even today it's still valuable. But, yeah, got us out here killing each other over pieces of paper. That's not even real money. That is not. Go look at the Constitution and then go put your hand in your pocket and then pull it out. And Chris Rock has one of the funniest jokes about money. Oh my God, I thought I was going to stop breathing. I was laughing so hard. Because he said that he was looking for God, and the whole time he had a God walking around in his pocket. Because on American money, we have "In God We Trust." And it's like a double entendre, because it's supposed to be "In God We Trust." But when they put it on money, if you look biblically, one of the things that Christians can't do, they can't actually look at the Bible as a historical document. They look at it, they try to look at it from a spiritual aspect. But you actually have to do both. You can't just use it spiritually, or you can't just look at it as a historical document. There are two points of view that have to come together for it to actually make sense. But one of the things that you actually start to see in it is how God hates money. Oh, he can't stand it. They actually have a word for it. It's called lucre. Okay? And I'll put the definition, down there too. When I put this back, when I play it back to myself, that's when I start putting that stuff in there, because I don't know how much of it I can remember to put initially. So give me a minute, to put it in there. But anyway, he hates it. So for the cabal that we've allowed to mess with our money, that's like the ultimate slap in God's face, is to say, "In God we trust," and then stamp it on something that they know good and well that he would not approve of. Okay? Biblically, money is gold and silver. And you go in and look at that. One of the gifts that the Lord was given by the wise men when they came to see him, at his birth, one of the gifts was gold. And Americans have allowed their government to snatch their real value away from them. And one of the reasons why this has happened is because of the way that they've indoctrinated the people to think about each other. Like, white people in this country, they really think that they own this country. It's the same thing that is happening over in Israel. Those Israelis, they literally have indoctrinated themselves to believe that they own that country. And what they are doing is justified in them being able to get it. That's what white people did to this country. That's why we are in this mess that we're in today, because they came over here and just took it. They just considered the natives to be less than them and put themselves above everybody and everything that was here, and they just started taking the land and doing whatever they wanted to do with it. And if they needed to kill whoever or wipe out whoever, by whatever means, then that's what they were going to do. And that's the same thing that happened in slavery, and why they started to break away from the Union, because they wanted to do things the way that they wanted to do them. And anybody who didn't agree with it was not going to be tolerated, by them. But it was because of their greed and their hatred and the blindness. It blinded them. And they became so greedy, because honestly, if they had just been satisfied with what they had, who knows what this country, would be. I doubt that slavery, would have ended. But because they couldn't keep their own agreements, we had the Missouri Compromise. Missouri was supposed to be the last slave state. So if they expanded the United States after the Missouri Compromise, then it was going to be without slavery. Everybody didn't want to live in slavery. But the people in slavery wanted to be able to take advantage of both. They wanted to be able to have their slaves, and then they wanted to be able to take them with them over into the other territories that were coming. So Kansas, when Kansas started coming online for statehood, that was a big thing, because people wanted to bring slavery to Kansas, and people just didn't want to be bothered with it, at a certain point. You had Northerners that wanted to move out too, but they didn't want to have to be bothered, with the whole slavery mess. And it really just caused, a whole lot of problems. And if you go and look, because, this thing came up with Nikki Haley and her, oh man, that's a whole nother video. When you have, and I'm going on a tangent, but pray that I'll come back to my point. When you have indigenous people who come over here, like Indians and Chinese and Asians, that come over here, and then they start to act white, that's when they're dangerous to humanity. When you start adopting the mindset of the colonizer, and India was colonized for a long time. The British, they stayed over there, and finally the enough Indians got tired of them, and they kicked them out. And so now we're here with those indoctrinated Indians that come over here and start adding to the problems that we have, in white supremacy. So when she had the whole conversation, about slavery, it kind of brought us, to this point of me even having to have these kind of conversations to kind of reorient people about this country and the truth about it, especially black people, and this is another reason why I wanted to do this part of the video. So please, be patient with me. I'm listening. I had an event, that I had in my apartment complex. And this lady came up. She's an old lady. I'd say she's maybe in her late 60s, early 70s. And late 60s, I'd say. And she was talking to me about Trump. Black woman. I'm looking at her like, girl. And see, I'm at this point now. If she had said this to me when Trump was in office the first time, I would have got mad. Because that didn't even make any sense. I don't even understand why people want to vote for him. And then people who swear they love Jesus, telling me they're going to vote for Trump. It is some of the craziest. All I see is Revelation 13 when I see people now talking about either Democrat or Republican now. But back then, child, you came up to, look, I digress. She was talking to me about Trump. And I'm just at this point where I'm understanding how our minds have been colonized. We think about colonization as land. This mess that I've been explaining to you, in this conversation, and the stuff that Israel, is doing. And I've mentioned this before about our minds being colonized, but even more so now. And I brought up Revelation 13 because at the end of it, there's a strong man, okay, that's supposed to come on the scene. And he is supposed to be so tough that he's going to get people to make marks either in their foreheads or in their right hand to let everybody know how much of an allegiance they have to this cat. And it's so far-fetched. I don't get mad at people who don't want to believe in Jesus because it is insane. Some of the stuff that's in that book is insane. It's like, okay, your mind can't wrap around what it's talking about until you actually start seeing it. It's like, oh my goodness, is that what it was talking about? It is incredible. I can actually see people being this insane and then pressuring other people who don't want to do it. So if you get to a point, like people who don't want to vote, there are a lot of people who have a problem with people who don't want to vote. But the difference for me now is I know how to language myself. I'm not going to vote. I'm not going to take a mark spiritually, and I'm not going to take one physically for something that I know is not sustainable. I'm not going to vote for someone that I see is a crook. I'm not going to vote for someone who is genociding an entire people over there for a jacked up place like Israel. I'm never going to do that. Okay? If you want to do that, I actually do somewhere in my heart, and I'm going to tell you, I'm into you. And for people who say that they believe in Jesus, this is why I pity you and why I don't believe y'all. I do not, child. I don't believe you. I don't care if you white. I don't care if you Indian. I don't care if you black. I don't care. if you could be Chinese, and if you tell me that you know who Jesus is, and then you believe in anything coming out of Donald Trump's mouth or Joe Biden, then no, I don't believe you. I do not believe that you believe in Jesus or righteousness. And that kind of brings me to this point. And if I can remember, I'm going to put this, there's a podcast from this dude, and he vacillates. He says that he's about black people, but then he actually loves what Trump did when Trump was in office. And see, that to me is an incongruency. And that tells me that that's a black man that I can't trust. And I actually like this guy. I think that he really has, a lot of potential. And that's why I'm sharing, his information. Because I really want you to see the difference of what I'm talking about. This guy says that he thinks that Democrats are brainwashed. And doesn't understand that he's equally as brainwashed for sitting up believing in Donald Trump. And he really feels that. He feels disdain and disgust because he doesn't believe in abortion, and he thinks that Democrats believe in abortion. I don't believe in abortion anymore, okay? But am I going to judge somebody because they decide to have one? Do I want that choice available to them? And women who are having emergency situations? I can have my opinion and feel strongly about it and encourage a Christian. I mean, take it to the Lord, child. Take it to the Lord, and whatever you're going to have to do to rectify the situation that you put yourself in. I know I wasn't able. I didn't have anything, to give my children. And it was hard. And like I said the second time, I mean, I put myself in that situation. I really looked at myself like I was stupid. And I was just stupid. And it really, it has affected, my life. And people don't understand that. You sit up and you judge people for things that you wouldn't do, but you don't know how that choice affected them. But you're letting it affect you, and it has absolutely nothing to do with you. You out here making your own mistakes. You out here, putting yourself in front of a video camera, letting everybody know that you're a shine for a crook and a criminal like Donald Trump because he can benefit you economically. That's shine. That's colonizer. That is the way that a colonizer actually thinks. And that's what he's doing. And to me, what he's doing is just as shameful and just as bad as me when I, put myself in a situation and had to end up, having an abortion. So these are the kind of things that we don't want to tell ourselves. I mean, if he actually stood and started writing down his problems, he wouldn't have time to be on here doing, and his conversation would be different if he was on here doing, these podcasts that he got going on. So he does give out, some good information, but he is just as blindsided and blind dead as he accuses Democrats, being. And it's just ruined our men. Our men are really trash. They are walking around in these spaces and places with teachings and ideas that are not true. And it's causing them to be able to make bad decisions, to pick bad women, to throw away good women. And I hope Brennan's life gets him to a prostitute or, a woman that's like 5 times more promiscuous than Emily, okay? Since Emily wasn't good enough for you, then I want you to go and get something that you really won't think is good enough for you. One of the ones that at the track, one of the places over in Vegas, they call it the track because that's the little circuit that the prostitute. Yeah, I want Brennan to go get one of them and bring her home to mama and daddy. Yes, because Emily is a decent woman who can actually learn. I mean, he acts like she can't change. So, I don't know if that was all that I wanted to talk about. Oh, okay. So, as I'm telling you guys about the system that we're living in, this monetary system, this power structure system, it is a white system. And that's not being racist, to say that. white people, white powerful people, and then the people at the bottom. They know. It's almost like there's an experiment called I forgot who did it at this point, but the thing was Pavlov's dogs, and Pavlov was able to make sure. I want to get the whole name, not just Pavlov, but anyway, he trained these dogs to be able to salivate at a command, and that is exactly what the people in power have learned how to do to us. And they've learned how to do it in like different ways. Like religion is one way. Politics is another way. That they have learned how to get people psychologically to be able to, it's like being a puppet. They can get you to move. So you want to go to the left, but they know how to move you so good that you can't even move yourself in the direction you want to go, because they have learned how to stimulate you to get you to automatically move to the right. It is something, the psychological warfare that has been put on us it takes something. And it took me to actually come the closest I ever want to come to losing my mind, for me to be able to start seeing this stuff. I mean, I'm a person who has, like I've said, I've always been rejected. So I understand the stories like Charlie Brown and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I get those. I really do. And it's that rejection that Emily has been facing from men that I've experienced, and it really makes me simpatico, with where she is. And I love her conversation. I wish Brennan would just learn how to just talk to her. And I hope now, I'm a lemonade squeezer, and I hope that after this season, he really sees something in himself that he can, when he's out, if this marriage, doesn't work, that can help him. Because if he leaves this experiment and still is the same way, then he's going to continue to get the same result. And I invite men and really women, who are looking at this show to kind of examine your life and your decisions, and before you start judging, other people. And I still get it, all the time. People talk to me for 5 minutes, and then for some reason they think that they know who I am. And then they'll get on the wrong side of me, and then they'll understand that, no, that's not who she was at all. See, you didn't even have to do that. You didn't even have to get me to have to give you that level of education if you just give me respect in the first place. And that's what I'm trying to encourage us to do. Lead with respect. And if people just won't give it to you, then you're just going to have to, figure out what your next move, is going to be. But always do not let people disrespect you. And be respectful. Be respectful and give people the opportunity, to form that kind of relationship. And that's what I try to do, in my life. It's very difficult, but that's the lane that I'm finding that's comfortable for me, because I don't want to have to go outside of myself in order to communicate myself. I want to stay right here in me and let what I have to say be the power that I'm using to demand what respect that I think that I'm going to get, out of people. And I'm going to get it, or else we're not going to have a relationship, with each other. And that's just how I'm deciding at this point that, I'm going to live my life. And it's taken me 53 years, to get here. So when men are out here pawing on me, I tell them to get their hands off of me. And I haven't always, been able to do that. I mean, I had this one dude just turn around and take both of his hands and just grab me, in my chest. And I'm looking at him like, are you serious right now? What is wrong with you? And he didn't think that he was doing anything wrong. It was incredible. Yeah, I get mauled. It's abuse. Women are abused out here. I'm still being abused, and I don't take it, anymore. And I'm really happy to see Emily, and I hope that, I hope to see that women out there are learning, and they are going to be and put themselves in a better position than I have been able to do, It shouldn't have taken me, this long to get here. But here I am. And hey, this is where I'm going to stay. So I think that was it. I just want us to be aware of the system, that we're in. We're going to need each other. So if you can put down your mess and come together, with people, it's actually going to make us stronger. We actually are stronger together. There's some things that they say that are true. We are stronger together, but they don't mean that they want us to get together. They always want us to stay separated. And when we start doing that for them, then that makes their job easy. And they keep us in conflict. Like, if we end up in a war where America is defending fascism in my face, yeah, I have a problem with that. So I don't know where I'm going to be mentally if they make me look at that. I always know that I'm going to give out information that is to try and balance the playing field. So if there are people out there that believe in Trump and believe in your government and believe this, that, and the third, then I'm going to give information out there to try and balance out that other side, so that you're not just looking at life from one perspective, that there's other information out there to be had, so that we can learn how to come together, because that is the last thing that they want us, to do. So if there's anything else, I'll put it on the next video, and I hope that you guys are having a good week, and I'll be putting this stuff up, probably tonight or tomorrow. Take care. Bye.